In 2007, a homeowner in Fresno, California, installed a basic security camera outside his house. The camera was meant to capture trespassers, animals, or anything unusual happening near his property at night. What it recorded instead would become one of the most debated pieces of paranormal footage ever captured. Late one night, the camera showed two pale, thin figures walking across the lawn. They were tall but had no visible arms, no heads, and no facial features. Their movement was slow and unnatural, like living legs with no upper body. Each step looked deliberate, almost cautious. The homeowner had no explanation for what he was seeing. The footage was turned over to local law enforcement. Officers reviewed it and initially assumed it might be a hoax or a person in costume. But after analyzing the footage frame by frame, they found no visible signs of strings, editing, or manipulation. The figures cast shadows consistent with the lighting. Their movement didn't match known animals or humans wearing stilts. Years later, a second video surfaced. This time, it was recorded near Yosemite National Park, miles away from Fresno. The figure looked almost identical, pale, leg-like, silent, and strangely proportioned. The second sighting reignited interest in the creatures, now known as Fresno Nightcrawlers. Cryptozoologists began investigating. They compared stride length, motion patterns, and speed. The creature's walk didn't match birds, humans, or common wildlife. Motion analysis suggested the legs bent in ways inconsistent with costumes. There was no visible joint where a human knee would normally be. Even more unsettling, the creatures appeared weightless, leaving no visible impressions on the grass. Eyewitness reports began surfacing across California. Late-night drivers described seeing tall, white figures crossing rural roads. Campers reported movement near tree lanes, describing something that looked like pants walking by themselves. Native American folklore from the region spoke of spiritual beings that moved silently and avoided human contact, entities said to appear briefly, then vanish. Skeptics claimed the footage showed children in white pants or puppets. But experts pointed out problems with those theories. The proportions didn't fit a child's body. The gait didn't match puppetry. And no one ever came forward to claim responsibility for creating the footage, even after it gained international attention. The Fresno Police Department stated they could not identify what the footage showed, but also confirmed there was no evidence it was faked. The question wasn't whether the footage was strange. The question was whether something non-human had been caught on camera. As the Fresno Nightcrawler footage spread online, investigators noticed something disturbing. The videos didn't behave like typical hoaxes. They didn't follow internet trends. They weren't monetized. And they weren't promoted. The footage existed quietly for years before going viral. Video analysts slowed the footage down and enhanced the contrast. They noticed the figure's legs moved independently, with no visible torso mass above them. The material of the figures didn't wrinkle or flap like fabric. Infrared analysis suggested the creatures were cooler than their surroundings, unusual for mammals, but not unheard of in unknown biological entities. More reports followed. Security guards at industrial sites near Fresno reported motion sensors triggering with no visible cause. Hunters described seeing tall pale shapes moving between trees without sound. One witness claimed a nightcrawler paused and slowly turned, as if aware it was being watched. What made the phenomenon more unsettling was the consistency. Every description matched the same general form. No arms, no head, silent movement, pale color, long strides. Some researchers proposed that Fresno Nightcrawlers might be interdimensional beings, entities that don't fully exist in our physical reality. Others suggested they could be an undiscovered species adapted to move without upper limbs, or something closer to a living biomechanical organism. Native legends from California tribes mention the Watchers, spirits that walk the land at night and disappear when noticed. These beings were said to avoid human contact and appear during times of imbalance or change. Some believe the Nightcrawlers may be a modern manifestation of those stories. Skeptics still argue the footage can be explained. But after nearly 2 decades, no convincing recreation has matched the original videos perfectly. No hoaxer has claimed responsibility. No clear explanation has survived scrutiny. What remains is the footage itself, silent, unsettling, and unexplained. If the Fresno Nightcrawlers were fake, someone would have proven it by now. Instead, the evidence still stands. 2 videos, multiple sightings, consistent descriptions, and a question that refuses to go away. What was walking through that yard? And why was it there?